Welcome to Coming Home, helping you survive and thrive in homeschooling. Today we've got another of our popular question and answer sessions. 3 questions today I will deal with. Number 1. Did you ever have days where you just throw in the towel and do a movie or documentary day, or reading day, or play at the park or forest days? Number 2. What did you say to people who like to harp on about how kids must be social and that homeschooling doesn't allow for this? And number 3. How do you deal with self-doubt? All right, question 1. Do you ever have days where you just throw in the towel and do a movie or documentary day, reading day, or play at the park or forest or beach days? This question could apply to both overwhelm or just simply of changing plans, because you can. If it's the former, you're just feeling a bit overwhelmed or worn out, or the kids are grumpy or just a little bit out of sorts or not feeling the best, call them teacher-only days or mental health days. It sounds better than just saying, oh, we took the day off. Well, you can call it that too if you like. But never be afraid to put the maths books or the spelling away for the day and declare a reading-only day. Or, okay kids, let's get it all put away. It's absolutely beautiful out there. Autumn is here. Soon it's going to be winter. We need to make the most of this day. Oh yes, just do it. Don't worry about missing maths or the spelling. Your child will not fall behind, and you will all be better for taking the opportunity to get out into the great outdoors or reading together for as long as you like, all snuggled up on the couch. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Bliss. So, short answer, yes. Remember, you're the boss of the homeschooling. You are not subject and bound by a curriculum or a routine or a program that you have put together. You are the principal, or the CEO, if you like, of your own school. You get to make some changes, and I think that is a privilege that you can enjoy and employ. Go for it. Question number 2. What did you say to people who like to harp on about how kids must be social and that homeschooling doesn't allow for that? Ah, the S word. Cue rolling of eyes. This question is bound to get hoots of laughter at a homeschool mothers meeting or at the homeschool students group. I mean, how do they know? On what basis do these very concerned people have this knowledge? And why is it their business anyway? Do they really think that you keep your children at home all day, every day, and they never see a soul, except maybe once in the weekend? Do they not think it odd that to only socialise with your own age group for years on end might just be worth questioning? After all, there's no other time in your life when you're divided according to age. It's really just social and educational convenience for that time of life. And that's actually a point worth considering for this kind of conversation. The other thing to bear in mind is that you are under no obligation to explain anything. Do you remember Mary Poppins said to Mr. Banks, "Let me make one thing clear. I never explain anything." Well, you could adopt that for yourself too. Sometimes I think somebody just asks that question in response to you saying, oh, well, we homeschool, and they don't really know what else to say. So out pops this really dumb statement. What about socialization? Yeah, what about it? And so sometimes to just politely close it down, I would say, yes, someday I think it's a good idea to stay at home and actually get some bookwork done. And you know, I never ever got a comeback for that. There has been enough data coming through now regarding the outcomes of homeschooling to be able to say safely, on average, homeschool kids are more adept at relating to all ages better than their schooled peers. But I suggest you keep that little gem to yourself. It could be seen as a little bit passive-aggressive, and suggest that the questioner does that research herself. The Ministry of Education in New Zealand requires you to justify on your application form how you are going to meet the social needs and plans for your child. You won't get approved unless you can satisfy that question. Their concern is misplaced and a result of believing rumours or someone who knew someone else. If you think about it, there are ranges of social ability in all spheres of educational life, whether it be public, private, or homeschooled. And I know plenty of adults who are socially awkward, so their school experience didn't help that, did it? Ooh, I'm getting a bit tetchy. I think I'll go on to the next question. How do you deal with self-doubt? The days when you question the what and why are you doing this homeschooling lark, and am I ruining my children? Yes, there were times when I had this self-doubt. The first thing I want to point out to you is that it's normal to have doubts. So if you are questioning what's going on with you mentally because you're even thinking that in the first place, it's actually okay. Always remember, you haven't delegated to the educational system. Therefore, the teaching buck stops with you. So it's normal you're going to be questioning these things. The thing to bear in mind too is how tired are you when you start struggling with these self-doubts. So if you know you're tired, just cut yourself a break. Tell yourself, no, I'm not going to think about it just now. I will revisit this thought when I am refreshed and feeling less tired. Thinking this way may well be a sign that you might need to take a bit of a break. So talking these things through with your homeschooling peers will help. Back in our homeschooling days, we regularly, the mums, would get together and just chat over a tea or a coffee while the kids were all in playing basketball. And those little meets that we did, they became so important to us. It was like our own little therapy session, and all it cost us was a few dollars for coffee and maybe a bit of cake. However, I advise you to be careful discussing these things outside of homeschooling circles, only because many non-homeschooling folk just don't get what you've done, and they just might see it as their opportunity to help you realize the error of your ways and maybe bring you back into the real world. So do not cast your pearls before swine. I realize that is a tough saying, and it's supposed to be. Be very careful whom you trust with what is really precious to you. So when you doubt like this, revisit your why. Remember, feelings are unreliable. You've got to know the facts. Go back to your why. Why did you homeschool? For us, so I'm answering the question, we homeschooled because we wanted our children to have close family relationships. We wanted them to be able to grow up and know how to think and not just what to think. And we wanted them to be able to go out into our world as functioning, useful, and successful young adults who could really contribute to the society in which we live. So when I was facing up to myself and I was starting to doubt and wondering, am I ruining my children? I would go back to those questions. Are we achieving these things? Are they getting on quite well together? Are you teaching them how to think? Do you see them developing more into mature young adults, or even when they're still quite young? Can you see the development and the progress there? Can you see where you're headed? So there are my facts, and I could put them against how I was feeling. So I would say that to myself, and myself would answer, and sometimes that was all I needed to do. In spite of how I was feeling, I could reassure myself that that actually wasn't true. Now, also remember, no one knows nor loves your children as much as you do. And this in itself is motivation to do the best that you can by them. You will educate yourself as you oversee their education. There are things I know and have become more knowledgeable about only because I homeschooled. I am more fulfilled. I'm sure I am. I'm more able and satisfied with my life because we homeschooled. Listen to those who have trod these well-worn tracks of self-doubt. If their advice sits well with your philosophy, then follow it, with the knowledge that you can veto anything that you like. If collective advice is not in alignment, I would go out of my way to check my ideals, philosophy, or interpretation of faith, because it could be me who needs to reassess my expectations. If you're still struggling regularly, and please remember it's normal, I'm talking about struggling more and more than what you know is good for you. I would seriously suggest to you that you consider consulting with a veteran homeschooler like myself who can help. If you want to contact me, you can do that in my website. Speaking of my website, do please visit it. We are updating it regularly with resources that will be of help to you while you are homeschooling. And in order to help other homeschoolers, if you have found these podcasts helpful, please like, share, subscribe, you know the drill, but just help me get these podcasts out and into the computers, the laptops of those who really need to hear it. All right, thank you, and I will see you next time.